Ever witnessed pure dominance on the basketball court? Caitlyn Clark didn't just defeat her opponents, she made them look helpless. From deep threes to clutch plays, here are times when Caitlyn Clark turned the game into her personal highlight reel and left her opponents absolutely humiliated. Let's start by revisiting that unforgettable game against Michigan. Caitlyn Clark, clearly in the zone, decided to school her defender with some fancy footwork. With her opponent keeping pace, Clark launched a deep shot from the logo, sealing Michigan's fate with a loss. She walked off the court with a cool 40 points, marking her transition into the WNBA. The pressure was intense and the challenges were numerous, but none of that fazed Caitlyn Clark. In her WNBA debut, she went all out, driving coast to coast and meeting Bonner at the rim, who offered as much resistance as a traffic cone. Clark considered taking a three, but instead decided to glide inside for a smooth layup, marking her first points in the WNBA. Bonner could only watch as she was outplayed by Clark's brilliance. Caitlyn Clark often becomes a target on the court, but don't think that slows her down. Take her game against the Phoenix Mercury as an example. Sophie Cunningham tried to rattle Clark with a shove during a layup attempt, but it didn't work. Clark turned that push into a textbook and won, sinking the basket despite the contact. She then confidently nailed a three-pointer right after. This is what's known as the Caitlyn Clark effect. Caitlyn Clark remains unstoppable, even when things get physical. Speaking of the Caitlyn Clark effect, let's talk about what happened to Allen during one play. Clark decided it was time for Allen to take a quick break, basketball style. As Clark launched a deep shot, Allen could only watch as she was left behind. Although the shot didn't go in, Allen still got a front row seat to Clark's shooting prowess. Then came the showdown with Sabrina Ionescu and the Liberty. What's better than breaking records? Doing it in front of someone who set a few themselves. Clark didn't just play, she put on a masterclass in record breaking, securing a triple-double, a feat Sabrina couldn't achieve in her rookie year. As the crowd erupted, Sabrina could only watch as Clark rewrote the record books, showing everyone how it's done when the pressure is on. If you think Clark's intensity was only for the WNBA, think again. Back in Iowa, she was putting on shooting clinics. During one game, Clark gave Raven Johnson so much space it was like the Grand Canyon between them, daring her to shoot. When Johnson hesitated, Clark waved her off dismissively, as if she were dealing with a minor inconvenience, signaling that she didn't even care about the shot. That's playing the opponent, showing a level of disrespect that's as ruthless as it is entertaining. And when it comes to Iowa and Caitlyn Clark, you can't forget their matchups with LSU. After the 2023 NCAA Finals, Angel Reese from LSU taunted Clark with a "you can't see me" gesture and flashed her championship ring. That moment stung, but in sports, karma has a way of balancing things out. Fast forward to 2024, and it was time for a rematch. Clark versus Reese, Iowa versus LSU. This was more than just a game. It was a shot at redemption, and Caitlyn Clark came ready. Clark dominated the court with an incredible performance. 41 points, 12 assists, and 9 three-pointers. She was a one-woman wrecking crew, contributing to 80% of Iowa's field goals and commanding the offense. Whether it was catching fire from beyond the arc, evading defenders, or sinking deep shots, Clark was unstoppable. Her stellar play led Iowa to a triumphant return to the Final Four, leaving LSU players stunned and almost like living emojis in disbelief. First up, there's the moment where Clark effortlessly dodged her defender. Reese rushed over to help, but all she could do was stretch out an arm in a futile attempt as Clark's three-pointer sailed through the net. Whether it was stepping back and draining the shot with a defender's hand in her face, or leaving Haley Van Lith trailing behind with nothing but an emoji-worthy expression, Clark was in complete control, delivering another signature three-pointer from downtown. Here's Clark pulling up for another deep three, and it's good. Caitlyn Clark, in her element, effortlessly sinking shots. But her dominance didn't stop with just her opponents. She even got under the ref's skin. After nailing a huge three-pointer, she was hit with a technical for taunting. When her coach got into a heated argument with the ref and was on the verge of getting a technical as well, Clark stepped in like a seasoned diplomat, gently guiding her coach away and essentially saying, "Relax, coach." Clark seemed to be saying, "I've got this," but because of how close she was to where Tanya Warren and the university players were standing, the refs weren't going to let it slide. However, you'd never know it, because moments later, Clark stole the ball and created her own encore. She then nailed a step-back three that sent the crowd, and maybe even the ref, into a frenzy. Today's game is unforgettable. Even though Caitlyn Clark wasn't on that team before, many of the players remember the score and what it felt like, and you can see that energy reflected in how they're playing now. Clark once again made a key defensive stop and followed it up with an impressive inside-out move, sinking the shot. And who could forget Caitlyn Clark's epic showdown against Maryland during her Iowa days? It was one of those moments where you just knew something special was about to happen. Clark got the ball beyond the arc, and with a crafty pump fake, she sent her defender flying in the wrong direction. With the path now wide open, she nailed her signature three-pointer, swish. That shot brought her to 36 points, proving once again that she's never afraid to take the big shot when it matters most. But what if I told you that Caitlyn Clark once single-handedly took down an entire team? Yes, you heard that right. In basketball, it usually takes a whole squad to overcome giants, but sometimes all it takes is one Caitlyn Clark. In the 2023 Final Four, South Carolina, who had been undefeated, faced Iowa and met their match. By the time the game was over, their perfect record was shattered, and their only loss in 2 seasons came at the hands of one extraordinary player. Clark was at the center of everything Iowa did on the court. In just the first half, she either scored or assisted on 31 of Iowa's 38 points, accounting for an incredible 75% of her team's total. While she didn't hit a triple-double, she didn't need to. Her 41 points were enough to dismantle South Carolina, handing them their only loss in an otherwise dominant 2-season run. Both teams were quick to push the pace, but Clark, working around Fletcher, effectively took down an entire championship contender. While much has been said about Caitlyn Clark the scorer, let's not forget Caitlyn Clark the playmaker. Her ability to see the court is almost as deadly as her shooting in a game against the Aces. She showcased her skill brilliantly when the Sparks defense momentarily let their guard down. Clark was fully alert, threading a precise pass to Wallace. The entire Sparks team could only watch in dismay as the ball zipped through their defense, landing perfectly for an easy score. What a pass. As she continues to shine in the WNBA, it's clear that her talent for breaking records is nothing new. Let's rewind to an epic game against Michigan, where Clark was just 6 points shy of breaking the NCAA women's scoring record, but how she went about it was nothing short of cinematic. Clark decided not just to break the record, but to smash it in style. She scored the first 8 points for her team with a flair that said, "Go big or go home," and for the record breaker, a jaw-dropping 3 from near half court, no layups, no easy shots. Clark went for the spectacular, etching her name into history with a shot that will be replayed for years to come. Everyone knows who the ball is going to: Clark. And when it comes to making history, she never hesitates. Take her game against Ohio State, for example. From the logo, Clark drained a three-pointer, leaving her defender staring in disbelief, probably wondering what they had just witnessed. Clark doesn't need any space. She thrives in transition. With a hold-my-beer attitude, she confidently launched another 3 from the logo. No hesitation, no second thoughts. It's almost as if the farther she is, the better she gets. Can Clark answer? Of course she can. Against the Suns, Clark decided to take on the entire team, not with just any shot, but with a massive one from the logo. While the Suns were scrambling back on defense, Clark was already in another zone, launching a deep 3 from way beyond the arc. Bonner got denied by Boston, and Wheeler found Clark at the logo. It could very well be the deepest shot we've seen Caitlyn Clark make as a pro, leaving everyone in awe. Imagine this: You're Richards from the Washington Mystics, just entering the game, and the first thing that happens is you hit the floor, but it doesn't end there. As you get up, you find yourself face to face with a nightmare. Caitlyn Clark pulling up from the logo. Before you can even react, the ball is already through the net. Welcome to the WNBA, courtesy of Caitlyn Clark. Richards goes down, Clark steps back and drills a three from just below the logo. She may be a rookie, but at 22 years old, matching her jersey number, she's already making a huge impact. Caitlyn is no joke whoever she plays. If you enjoyed witnessing these jaw-dropping moments of her dominance, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on any of our future content. See you next time.